So, yeah, welcome, and it's a pleasure to actually have this opportunity to share our story with you guys, and even more, it's such a pleasure following these two gentlemen, the two giants of CIM, as I like to call them. Thank you very much for this wonderful introduction. Hopefully, they've given you guys some insights on what CIM is and the complexity behind it, and how WSO2 is actually trying to solve this. But this is going to be a little bit different from my usual sharing of the WSO2 experiences. Today, I'm going to be sharing to you guys the story of Time, how we started with Time, and just our journey through where we were to where we are today, and specifically the CIM problems we were facing. Now, I've got the question and answer window here. So I think before I had a look at the attendees, so there's quite a few names that I do recognize. So before somebody asks the question, yes, I am wearing a tie. I've got my battle attire on, and just gets me into the right mind space. And it's a little bit a different experience having a chat with a virtual audience. So I'm going to do my best to see if I can still bring that personal experience to you guys. Just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jonathan Lewis. I'm part of the architecture team at DeARX and at Time itself. And I've been fortunate enough to be with Time from the very start. So not a lot of people get that experience and that opportunity to actually build a bank from scratch. So it is truly my pleasure to bring you our story. So just for everyone listening, if you in South Africa, you probably have seen TymeBank somewhere. If you're not from South Africa, let me just give you this brief introduction. TymeBank is South Africa's first proper digital bank, not just a traditional bank that has got digital offerings. But when we tackled this problem, we got rid of all the brick and mortar stores. We said no to traditional banking, and we wanted to bring a true digital experience to our customers. So our mission from the very start was financial inclusion. We saw the industry, the financial management industry, as a very polarizing market out there, and not just from a business point of view where you had the big five banks fighting over the same user base with small gains over the past few years, but demographics as well. So for us, bringing financial services to people who never thought it would actually be within their grasp was pretty fantastic, and that was our goal from the very beginning. So what is stopping financial inclusion? It boils down to one simple word: access. Africa sits with a very unique problem compared to the rest of the world, where we've got multiple varieties of income groups. We've got quite a large land space with concentrated cities, things like that, and a lot of rural areas where people don't have the opportunity to get to these financial institutions and to actually have access to that. So, but we break that financial inclusion and the access problem down to three specific problems. One is the physical access. If you could imagine, I think the majority of people on this call, if you wanted to do some work at the bank, some transactions, some payments, open an account, it would be pretty easy. You'd get into your vehicle, you drive to the closest shopping center, and you would be bombarded with a choice of any of the big five banks and their offerings. We would be able to walk in and transact. For a lot of the people in our country, that's not the case. We've got a lot of rural areas, and for them to have that same experience, they would sometimes have to take 2 or even 3 taxis just to reach this destination. They would have to take a full day out of their lives as well, trying to survive. And this is a big problem. So this is keeping people away from financial offerings. The second one is, of course, the financial access. Traditional banking is expensive. And within South Africa, the problem is even more prominent. With South Africa, I don't want to really say boasting, but with South Africa being charged with one of the most expensive countries to actually have be part of a financial organization with regards to our bank costs. So for people living paycheck to paycheck, having no guarantee of income, it's just way too expensive to be part of this elite community. And then, of course, the third one is the emotional access. We've all seen it. If you go into a bank, it could sometimes be a very intimidating experience. I was very fortunate enough to see this firsthand, where people actually would walk into a financial institutions and be bombarded by so many different products, so many different benefits. You don't know where to start, and this could be pretty exhausting. And because of this confusion and because of this disconnect, it does cause a lot of mistrust between some clients and the financial institutions. So, well, how did we solve this problem? Or how does South Africa's financial organizations tackle this problem? Well, we believe it's actually very simple. What we did is we had a look at the African market. Well, starting with the global market first, we had a look at digital banking. Digital banking was very, when we started this journey, it was very appealing. Putting the financial power into the user's hands, giving that freedom. But the definition of digital banking in the world is not necessarily the definition that Africa needs. We've got very unique African problems where not just location, we've got different income, we've got geographical challenges. So we had a look at what is a uniquely African digital bank. That kicked off our journey by partnering up with two of South Africa's big retail stores, Pick n Pay and Boxer. Together they have about 800 stores across Africa. So we started developing a kiosk machine that we could go drop in all of those stores and allow people to start interacting with the bank in a area or a geographical location that is comfortable for them. Our process we had to make as simple as possible. So when you see these machines in Pick n Pay and you see them in Boxer, all you have to do is sign up for your account with your biometrics using your thumbprint. And there's a few questions and things that get asked to qualify you, of course. But within 5 minutes, you would have sign up, you would have access to an account, access to transact with traditional banking features, payments, transfers, things like that. And then at the end of the whole experience, you would have a Visa debit card that has got a personal name on it. And for a lot of people, just having a card with their name on it was something that was never within that reach. So this is really something that we believe is very cool. And it's something that we like to share with everyone, because it was, of course, the very first step to get people into this whole financial inclusion dream. Now, what do you get for that 5 minutes of investment of your time? Well, the card, you get the card, of course, that you can go use to transact like we would do with any other financial institution or banking institution within the world. You get access to our smart app, and for our users who don't have smartphones, USSD. You get a full internet banking portal where you can start interacting and managing your finances. You also get to deposit and withdraw at any Pick n Pay or Boxer tills. Now, I just want to stop there to just explain to you guys how powerful that actually is. One of well, let's do it like this. The big 5 banks, every year they have a look at what their offering is. And one of the marks they get measured on is, well, how easy is it to withdraw money? So we look at the sheer amount of ATMs that specific institution has got present within South Africa. And one of the banks, they've topped that list for quite a few years now, and they've got more or less 9,500 ATMs across South Africa. Now, that's not a lot if you look at our geographical footprint within this earth. And we are very proud to say that because we have partnered up with Pick n Pay and Boxer at the tills itself, we have nearly doubled the amount of withdrawal points that that the industry was used to offering. And with us being able to distribute those tools around South Africa, we've actually made it closer to where people live. We've made it more accessible to people, and not just concentrated in urban areas where you'd find things like shopping centers. And then last but not least, ATMs. So you could still use your account like any other account, go to any ATM, any merchant that has some form of point of sale, and use this card to purchase or interact with that business. So did we succeed? I would say definitely yes. So with only 18 months after launching, TymeBank has actually been rated as one of the top 3 digital banks in South Africa. Insight Consulting is a company in South Africa, and they release an annual report that measures consumer satisfaction with digital bank services in South Africa. We've got a negative score, 100 score, and a positive 100 score being the best. TymeBank achieved within their very first 18 months a customer satisfaction score of 74. That's just seven points shy of first place, and that's just fantastic for us. And having the honor of actually working on this project, it's very nice to see that all that hard work is actually being appreciated by our customers. Currently, we've got close to 2 million users, and that user base grows with 120 users per month. And of course, that brings a lot of security concerns or security considerations that we need to have in place. And we need to find a balance between our security and user experience. As you've heard previously, a lot of our clients don't have the experience we have with banking accounts, managing their funds. So we are constantly evaluating the differences. Why are we taking on this responsibility? Well, the financial sector is still revered as the pioneer of digitalization. With online banking constantly evolving, the industry and its disruptors continue to spearhead customer experience. But as a digital offering from a financial service organization become increasingly sophisticated, the user demands have risen rapidly. Customers now expect a user-friendly experience that not just encompasses one form of interaction point, let's say a till point or maybe a desk, but you now have a mobile device. You've got IoT devices out there. You've got tablets and websites. So providing the optimal user experience across all those banking applications is therefore business critical. And engaging with your customers and actually having the ability to evolve that process has become priority for us. So with all of this in mind, we are constantly evaluating this fine balance between security and convenience for the sole purpose that with any imbalance between these two factors, there's real costs involved, whether that be with customers not feeling safe within our 4 walls, or just purely the user experience acts as a deterrent for any additional business. That brings me to the concept of what does CIM actually look like? This was actually a very controversial slide for me, and while I was showing this to our team, the comments I got was, you know, it's complex. We can't make sense of this. It's not intuitive, and the reason behind it is because customer identity and access management is difficult. It's a challenge that not most of the technical experts can tackle. It's a very unique problem. And just looking at for instance, Johan's presentation, where he was talking about the features that the IS actually has, it's quite a lot. And you need all those features to tackle today's modern problem. But what I want to do is just take a little bit different approach. I want to see if I can't simplify a lot of those aspects and actually show you what we did. So I'm just quickly going to stop sharing. I just had to share this with you guys. I want to show you our website and our portal that we have developed over the past few months and just show you how the CIM features are actually coming through in a real world product. So this is our landing page. And of course, part of the CIM journey, and I had a very ugly pinwheel to show you all of the aspects, and thanks, Steve, for convincing me to take it out. But we have to manage the entire life cycle of a client. And the very first thing is user onboarding. So we had to carry over that simplistic 5-minute onboarding process to purely a website. We wanted to bring that features and that experience to all of our users, not just users that actually have access to those stores. Now, all you need to do at TymeBank to get an account is you need a South African ID number, and you need if you're going through the web portal, a cell phone number. If you are going through our physical kiosk, it's just your biometrics, and you need to be 16 and older. Now, that is a very simplified version of what a financial institution needs to know about their customers. There's an entire KYC that goes along. So progressive profiling is one of the key features that a decent CIM solution needs. You need to learn more about your client as you grow. So you need the minimal information to turn a stranger into a customer. And then from there on, start building the relationship between customer and organization to, first of all, build the trust, build better knowledge of your customers, and start growing it from there. I want to take you guys to our login screen as well. And another part of CIM is, of course, identity management. So we've got a whole backend that manages all of that, but we have to hide that complexity somehow. And what we had to do is figure out what is the easiest way for our users to actually use this newly created account. Well, plain and simple, have your login page with an ID number and the password. That brings up the thing from, I need identity management, I need password management, I need a whole authorization mechanism in the back end. And as Johan mentioned as well, you need things like analytics and additional features to actually simplify the user experience, but still maintain the security in the back end. So I'll just bring my presentation back up here for you guys. But now all of that didn't just happen overnight. We had to boil down a few key aspects and problems that we had to tackle. Now, this was quite a while ago, and we have since modified a lot of these things, but I would like to take you through the journey of the very first hurdles we had to face. Well, of course, it always starts with the user. Being a customer-centric organization, worrying about what the user actually experiences during their interaction with us was very, very important. And that takes us through to the devices. The majority of our users interact with our bank not face-to-face, not through a call center agent or a financial representative. They interact with us through these kiosks, their mobile devices, internet portal, things like that. So that is our very first entry point into our ecosystem. And because of that, we required a solution that would, first of all, give us a very strong authentication backend, as well as some session management functionality. Now, when we originally had this use case for session management, this was not yet a feature of the identity server. But luckily, the identity server being an open source product, we could actually just gut it and actually have it function the way we want it to. Now, as you guys sit there and listen to this, you're thinking, oh, I don't want to customize this thing and everything just to get session management. The good news is, as these customizations actually got battle hardened, it has become part of the new features of the new identity server. So we had to look at how do people interact, first of all, using these devices, and how can we actually authenticate them in these multi-channel environments. The second thing we had to look at from after the user interacts with the devices, how do we apply adaptive authentication? We are asking our clients two facts. We're asking them their ID number and we're asking them their password. So we needed some form of backend that would maintain that simplicity from a user experience point of view, but add the additional security layers as we mature during our identity process. So it started up with a ID number and a password, but in the future, we wanted to be able to challenge a user with USSDs. We wanted to challenge a user with a two-factor authentication pop-up in the application. We wanted to carry this, have the freedom to actually upgrade the user security by not necessarily changing the front-end experience, but actually changing it in the back end. Then the third thing we had to consider was user token management and subscription. Being a digital bank, we do expose quite a few APIs to our partners. So we had to consider about a solution that gives the same type of user experience that our internet banking and our kiosk has, as well to our developer community. So we had to make sure that that process is simple, easy, and enforces strict industry standards. And then, of course, we had to look at user token substitution or bridging, as the industry has delved that term. We had to look at other systems that we have in our ecosystem. Traditional banking comes with a lot of out-of-the-box solutions. And even though we have built this bank from scratch, you still have to bring a lot of those products into your ecosystem, each coming with some form of proprietary security mechanisms, or some form of claim transition or transfers that has to happen during all of this. So we required a system that would be able to receive the authentication from the front end, actually generate some JWT tokens that carry the claim, carry the signatures, and would pass it on to all of our other systems where we have microservices that use that JWT as some form of authentication mechanism, or as a mechanism to transfer user claims to further enhance their experience. So looking at the very first hurdles we had to tackle, the WSO2 identity server with its rich feature set could assist us with all of those problems. And some of the key benefits that we actually experienced was the improved security that it just gave us. We leveraged the core out-of-the-box features to ensure that the security measures are in place and meet all audit requirements. Well, of course, the ease of use that it gave us to easily and quickly get all of this in place to start servicing our clients with a secure backend. And of course, productivity gains. Because of all of these features being part of the WSO2 identity server, not a lot of customization actually had to happen. And because it comes with this, ships with this vast number of protocols that it supports, integrating it into other systems wasn't that difficult. So what's next? Of course, being a digital bank, we always look at the future. We look at what's happening within the organization, and we look at what our customers require. I think everyone has probably seen what's happening in the news currently with Twitter hacked, and we heard about Yahoo's hack, and that has a very, very expensive repercussion once that happens. With over 80% of security breaches being password related, with the average cost of fixing that of around $3.9 million. And also considering that the average person spends around 11 hours a year just managing their passwords and having about between 25 and 85 passwords, we really want to start tackling that user experience problem, as not just from a UX point of view, but also from a security point of view. So what we want to do is we want to introduce our market to a secure user-centric passwordless ecosystem, a full end-to-end way to interact with our platform and our features without having to worry about password managers, or the lack of security that actually follows that pattern. But there are, of course, some key considerations to achieve our futuristic goals. We have to think about privacy, sustainability, scalability, of course, our pleasant user experience. And following the whole theme, we need to be inclusive. And we have to bring that feature, this password-led feature, to the African market in a way that tackles our unique problems of everyone not having smartphones, not everyone having constant internet access, with data bundles and things being so expensive within this country. So we're seriously working very hard to find an African solution to this problem. We will see the solution moving away from passwords and towards alternative biometrics that could even include facial recognition, fingerprint authentication, some QR codes, and with the rapid evolution of machine learning, and it being one of my passions, of course, and now I'm trying to push this as well. And with the features of the IS as well, its built-in features, we're looking at even using system recognition habits, the user's habits and how they interact with the system as additional hurdles that we can use to feed this adaptive authentication model that we have built in the back end. But we are dreaming big, and there's a lot of features and a lot of use cases out there for us to solve. But we really do believe that it's a reality and not just a dream. So we're looking to bring this to the future and bring this to the market. So I just want to take this time and thank DeARX and WSO2 for giving us this opportunity for us to share our story of inclusiveness, how we want to bring our dream and our passion to our markets. Second of all, I just want to thank Time for the opportunity for us to be able to share the story with the audience, to share our passion with them. And then, of course, I want to thank the audience themselves for listening to me go on about a very complex topic. I've tried to simplify it quite a lot, and I've tried to convey it over to you guys. And I want you guys to have a look at our till points. And next time you find yourself in a Boxer store or a Pick and Pay, I want you to go to that kiosk and actually challenge the 5-minute promise that I've made during this presentation. Let me know if I did my job well. And yeah, hopefully we can inspire a similar style of user experience, user-centric, inclusive culture within the rest of the banking sector. Thank you very much.
Johnny, thank you very much. That was passionate and beautifully articulated. Just want to cancel that video. So no further questions have come through yet. So we're now moving towards wrap and close. So if anybody does have any questions before we do that, please feel free to raise a hand or start typing on the Q&A screen. I hope that, so what I will do in the interim, while we see if anything does come through, I'll just start to close. I hope that everyone has been able to, let me just start my video, sorry about that. I hope that everyone has been able to enjoy the journey of the vision presented by Prabhat, the product capabilities, which we saw how extensive that was from Johan, and then a real life experience, so beautifully shared by Johnny and the team at Time. So if I haven't seen any questions, so what I'll do is just share my screen with you to just remind you of what we've got coming from here. So that takes care of the top part of episode 2. On Thursday, what we'll do is we're going to reconvene, and like we did last week Thursday, we'll go into, so think about it like a breakout session. And if you want to be more interactive and you want to have your specific use case discussed, or any particular challenges that you are facing in your environment that you'd like to unpack, the idea behind Thursday is we've set aside 2 hours to do a deep dive. So view it as being in a conference facility and moving across into a breakout session where the agenda is really free form and available to you to dictate the process. then from actually we're going to miss a week. So we're not going to be online for episode 3 next week, Tuesday. The schedule is to skip next week and to move to the week after. So that takes us to the 4th and 6th of August, which is our final week in this series. So episode 3 is, we stay with TymeBank, but in this case, we're now going to switch topic and we're going to go kind of against functional product and go into cloud. In that session, what we're going to do is Paul Fremantle will be back with us. And so Paul won't be doing an opening keynote, but he's offered to close our series for us. So if you've been able to participate right from the outset last week, Tuesday, Paul will bring a closing wrap. And then the case study is going to be presented by Gino, and he'll take us through how TymeBank has deployed and improved their implementations through the use of WSO2, but specifically in AWS. And so whether you are a WSO2 customer or not, the topic of cloud and the capabilities of AWS specifically are compelling and certainly topical. So I think you'll enjoy that presentation. And then from a WSO2 perspective, flexibility is a core attribute, and the ability to deploy, and per that slide I shared earlier on today, to deploy in a hybrid environment or hybrid architecture, a multi-cloud. So Shamuth will take us through the WSO2 cloud capability as well as their sort of vision and strategy in that space, because as both Prabhat and Johan talked about it today, you can see a lot of cloud being key to how the WSO2 architecture is going to play out into the future. Okay, so that's it from me. I don't know if anybody's seen any other questions that have come up yet.
Nope.
No? All good. In that case, thank you for joining us for this session today. That's a wrap, and hope to catch you guys on Thursday, 9 o'clock. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.